define what it is, and then we're going to sort of explain its purpose. Like, what's the purpose of an essay? Okay. After that, we're gonna have a look at the different kinds of essays. Okay, because there are different kinds. So um, when you write an essay of your own, you should have a good idea of like what kind of essay am I writing. That way, your essay will be a good essay because not every essay um, has the same sort of rules. There are some rules that apply to all of them, but some are only for some type of essay, and you don't want to mix them up, right? When you mix them up, your writing will be bad, and then you won't get good marks on it. Okay, so it's important to have an idea of the different kinds, and then that way we can clearly sort of tell, okay, what kind is this am I reading, and what kind is this that I want to write. Okay. And then after that, once we have a good idea of some of the different kinds of essays, we'll get into sort of trying to start to learn about and maybe even practice writing one part of the essay that we'll focus on today, which is the introduction. Okay. I'll explain the other parts soon, but that's going to be the part that we'll focus on today and maybe even the next lesson. We'll see. Let me add to what you guys are saying. This meaning of something could be either of like when you say something, right? It could be like some physical thing, right? Like for example, this cup. If I say, what's the definition of this cup? Okay. This is an object. Okay. And I'm asking you to give me a definition of it. Or it could be the meaning not of a thing, but of like a word, right? If I say, what's the definition of the word cup, right? Not this thing, but the word that we use, right? Because sometimes we don't know the meaning of certain words, okay? So here, when we're looking into when we're asking what is an essay and we're looking to define it, what kind of thing do you think it is? Is it something like this cup, like a physical thing, or are we talking about like a word or an idea? And also, part of understanding this question of what an essay is involves understanding its purpose, right? Like, why do we write such things? And that can, when writing our own, help us write clearer. Okay, so understanding the purpose of something. Okay, in general, when you understand the purpose of something, you tend to use it or sort of employ it better, right? A short piece of writing or a long one that focuses on one main idea or topic, and it explains, describes, argues, or tells a story about that topic in a clear and organized way. Okay. So it has to be clear and it has to be organized. And that's one of the most important things. Okay. Be able to write clearly and in an organized way about a topic or an idea. So now that we know the definition of an essay, we can move on to discussing its purpose. Okay. Purpose is to communicate information or share an idea or to convince someone of something. Okay. Let's say you want to convince somebody that, you know, we should have a 3 day a 3 day break from school, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you write an essay and you give it to your principal And in that essay, you try and convince him or her that Friday should be a school day off. Okay. So to communicate information or share ideas or convince someone of something. Okay. But also more generally, an essay is meant to help you express your thoughts in a clear way, as we said, and in organized way, and in an organized way, and also to help the person that is going to read your essay um, to learn something, okay, about a subject, right? You're trying to teach me something, so you write an essay on a topic that I don't know about. Now let's move on and discuss the kinds of essays. Okay, so we have here several different kinds. Okay, expository, and I'll explain what that is. Persuasive or argumentative, narrative essay, a descriptive essay, or a compare and contrast essay. Okay, but what kind?
It delivers information.
Okay, good. Specifically, how does it deliver this information? It delivers it by explaining something. Okay. So in this kind of essay, you're trying to explain some new information or even old information. But the point is you're trying to explain, right? You're telling me, Dav, here's how this thing works, or here's why this is so and so. Okay, you're trying to answer either the question how or why. Ex so expository is explain. What do you guys think is the persuasive type of essay or the argumentative? What are you trying to do there?
To persuade someone.
Good. You persuade them, which means you try and um, get them to accept what you're telling them, right? Like I'm trying to persuade, with the example I gave earlier, the principal to make Friday another day off from school. So I write him an essay. Please here's why you should make Friday off. I want to persuade him. What about narrative? What do you guys think that is? You said you're familiar with this word,
To narrate something.
to narrate something,
To
which
tell a
means to
story.
basically tell.
It's something that happened around you or somebody else around you or something.
Yeah, exactly. You're just kind of telling, right? What happened, usually in what kind of order? Usually in what's called a chronological order. Have you heard of this term? Chronology? In like in time. Exactly. Good. In series of time, right? This thing happened first, then this thing second, and then this thing third, and then this thing fourth, and so on. Right? You're not trying to persuade anybody. You're not trying to explain how something works or why or something like that. You're just telling, describes, yeah, right? Related to the word description. Here, you're just describing like a person or a place or a thing or an idea, right? Let's say you write an essay about your favorite place to visit, right? And you're describing that place to us, right? Then finally, there's the compare and contrast kind of essay. What goes on here, you think? What are you doing here in the compare and contrast essay? Yeah, it could be two things, physical things. It could be two ideas. It could be a physical thing and an idea. It could be places, whatever. Point is, you're just comparing and contrasting. When you compare and you contrast, what do you do? What are you doing there?
You describe them.
You describe them how? By showing how they're
Similarities and
similar.
differences.
Here are several reasons. One is because they help you organize your thinking and your writing. Another, and this is really key, expressing your ideas clearly. Okay? Clear expression of ideas is very important. That way people can understand what you're saying and be persuaded by what you say. If you can't express, not expressing ideas clearly in writing is like not being able to talk well. And this is a connected point, effective communication. Essay writing can also improve your critical thinking. You guys know what critical thinking means? To look at something, like some writing, a book, or a newspaper article, or anything else, and be able to kind of break it down. Okay? Be able to break it down. Be able to say, this is a good point, this is a bad point, this is true, this is not true, this is this, this is that. Okay? Not to just kind of read it without really being able to analyze it. Okay? Analysis is key for critical thinking. And analysis means to break down something, right? So, learning, practicing essay writing helps with critical thinking. It also can improve your research skills. Later on, like in university, if you ever have to write an essay, you're going to have to do research for the essay. And you're going to have to cite your like research. So if you get some idea from somewhere and you want to include it in your essay, you have to be able to, show clearly like where you got this idea. What about the importance of each kind of essay? Okay, so like the expository essay, the essay where we explain something. Why would that be important? Right? Well, it's because you help someone learn something new, right? By telling them why or how something works. Okay. And the same thing for the persuasive or the argumentative essay, right? If it's a big deal, if there's like a big topic and you manage to persuade someone of it, someone who, let's say, doesn't have the same opinion as you, um, and you bring them over to your side, that could be a big deal, right? Like imagine you write an essay to your principal, this persuasive kind of essay on why they should make Friday another off day. And then you convince them. That would be a big deal, right? So that's the importance of a persuasive essay. With regards to the narrative essay, why would that be important? Right? Where you're telling a story, let's say, in a chronological order. Why do you think that might be important to someone? One reason is, and usually this is this is sort of related to narrative essays a lot, is to kind of entertain, right? Like a good story entertains, right? Have you guys read any interesting like novels, books, like Harry Potter or something? Do you guys like that? Right? You find it entertaining, don't you? It's interesting the way the story unfolds. So that's the sort of importance behind a narrative. You kind of get this pleasure from it, right? It entertains you, right? Which is not really the case with like an expository essay. Its purpose is not entertainment, but instruction. It's supposed to teach you something. What about descriptive? Descriptive is also sort of, it has a similar importance as a narrative essay, right? It has this sense of getting you to kind of feel a certain way about a topic, right? If I describe to you like, you know, how great your favorite place is or my favorite place is, I want you to sort of like it like how I like it, right? If I say, hey, you guys have to visit, have you guys ever been to Morocco? Right? I've been to Morocco. It's so fun there. So I write you an essay, a descriptive one describing Morocco. And I want you guys to feel what I feel about that place. That's the importance of this kind of essay, right? And something similar could be said about the compare and contrast kind of essay, right? It also, though, is more, its importance is more related to sort of getting you to see the difference between something and something else, or the similarity, right? Let's say if you had to choose between a MacBook and a regular laptop. So I write you an essay comparing and contrasting a MacBook with, a regular laptop. I say, here are the similarities, here are the differences, here are the pros, here are the cons. So, and then the importance of this is that, you're going to base your choice on these similarities and differences. So that's why that's kind of essay is important, okay? It can help you choose better, right? So those are some of the reasons why these specific kinds of essays are important. Okay, having done that, now let's look at the structure of an essay. You guys, you said you've written an essay before. What do you think the structure of an essay looks like? Beginning, middle, and end. Yep, right? What's in the beginning? Yeah, good. What about in the middle? The description of the topic. Yeah. What kind of description? Remember, it's not always description, right? Like if we go back to this, the descriptive is only one kind of essay. So the description in the middle would only be for this kind of essay, right? But we're looking for something general that's going to apply to them all that you put in the middle. What could
Some,
that be,
something that supports your idea.
right? After the introduction. Sorry, did you have your hand up? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Facts, okay. Good. You could put facts, yeah. But that's also for a specific kind of essay.
Body form.
The what? The body paragraph? Yeah. Good. Yeah. And what's in this body paragraph? And this body paragraph is basically the main thing you're trying to say about the topic, right? It could be a description, it could be these facts, it could be the narrative, it could be the compare and the contrast, right? But it's sort of the main part of the essay that you put there. Okay? It's not always facts. It's not always a description. It could be these, it could be something else, but it's the main part that's the key, right? And depending what kind of essay it is, that main part is either going to be, this description or these facts that you're trying to explain, or this narrative or whatever. Okay? So and that's the body. So always remember the main part. I'm after the introduction to your topic, next comes the main part. What am I trying to say about this topic? Right? And then what comes after the body? The conclusion,
Conclusion.
right? Where you do what?
You can sum up the thing.
Summarization or the end. You summarize. What do you summarize? You summarize the introduction or the body? Body, right? So everything you said in the body, you quickly sum it up in the conclusion, and then you end. Okay? That way, if I say, for example, this essay, it's too long, I don't want to read it. Let me just get the main idea of it. I just skip to the conclusion where you summarize it, right? That's why it's important to write the conclusion well, right? If someone gives you an essay to read and you might not have time to read the whole thing, but you want to know what it's about, you read the intro and you want to know also why this person said what he said. You go to the conclusion and you read the summary of the body. So this class in particular, what we're going to do, we're going to look at these features related to writing a good intro. So you got the hook challenge. We're going to do some exercises with that. And then some exercises involving identifying the parts of an intro. And then one exercise for building a thesis, sort of writing a nice, clear thesis. And then a thing called bridging the gap, going from like what you start with to your thesis smoothly. So you don't say things like just that are not related. Okay, we're going to see some bad examples of this bridging the gap idea. Okay. Yeah, and then we'll do some comparing and revising. I might have you guys do some kind of a group thing. We'll see. And then the last two parts, which we might not have time for, but we'll see. Okay. Here's a plain hook. Reading is important, right? Begin with a sentence like that, your introduction. I mean, that's not really attention grabbing, right? How could we improve this? What could we say? What could we add? What could we change? Okay. Here's an example of a hook that has to do with the same thing, but it sort of begins with like a bold claim. So compare these two. Reading is important with another way to basically put the same thing, but it's much more interesting. Books are the keys to worlds you've never imagined, right? If you see these two sentences on two pieces of paper, two articles, you're more likely, or people are more likely to read the second one, right? Or continue reading. So you want to begin with something like that. Here's another example. This time, question form. What if you could travel anywhere without leaving your room? And then you get into, how books allow you to do that, right? So that's like again, a more interesting way of just saying the same thing, which is reading is important. Okay? Here's another way. This time a surprising fact. People who read for just 30 minutes a day live longer than those who don't, right? If you read that, you're like, whoa, okay, let me see what this person's gonna say. And then you continue to read, right? As opposed to just, well, nah, reading is important.
Um, if some if someone read book and he saw this, he don't even care because he read book. But if he saw it on on internet, he will just well if he continue, he will not live longer.
Wait, what are you saying? I'm not sure what you're saying.
Like if he saw this on internet, he will just stop
Why?
watching, and because he want to live longer, but 1 second later he's saying, "Nah, I prefer on a phone.
Yeah,
I
well,
prefer staying online."
yeah, but what do you think he's more likely to? The point is, if he reads this and then this, if one paper has that and another one has this, what's he more likely to keep reading?
None of them.
Why? The point is, make the claim interesting in that way. Okay? Here's another example. Pollution is harmful to the planet, right? So, that's a plain claim. How could we make it better? We're drowning the earth in trash, one plastic bottle at a time, right? It says the same thing as pollution is bad for the planet, but it's much better said, more interesting, more attention grabbing. Okay? Or you could start with a question again, like, have you ever wondered what happens to the garbage you throw away? Okay? And then you get into why, it's harmful for the planet. Okay? Again, you want to sort of make it interesting, okay? And not just state something very plainly. Okay? The more creative you are, the better it is for the essay. Maybe like 5 to 10 minutes maybe like 6 minutes to do this exercise, okay? And this exercise is one where I want you guys to revise the hooks, okay, that I give you in the way that I just explained, okay? So let me upload it. And look, I give you a hint too what the goal is. So look at the goal and then try and make changes to make the hook better, right? On your screen. Sports are fun and good for you. What do you guys have? What do you have?
1 minute of sport equal 1 second of life.
1 minute of sport equals
1 second of life.
1 second of life. Okay. All
Why is
right.
it 1 second of sport equal 1 minute of life?
I don't know. Because remember, what you wanna say is you want to get to the point where you want to say sports are fun and good for you. Okay. So do you think this new hook sort of gets to that point? What are you trying to say with 1 minute of what's your overall point? Is it play more sports
Yeah,
or
play more sport.
or less? Okay. All right.
Schools could be difficult for some people as it takes up 6 days of the day, 6 hours of the day with little to no
Okay.
break.
That's for what?
3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's better than schools can be hard. Good. Um, you got one?
The first one,
Uh-huh.
scientists said that people who do 30 minutes sports a day will live happier than the people who don't do.
Okay, good. That's like an interesting, surprising fact, right? Okay. What about you? What for any of them?
Lottery.
Oh, okay. Okay. Do you wanna submit it on Google? Okay. Um,
Who want to know all the interesting things in history?
do you want to know all the interesting things in history? Okay, yeah. Good. That's a question. 1 and 2. Okay, what about number 2?
Parents see video games as a heart of something like addictive poison, but evidence shows that video games could help alleviate symptoms of depression, such as the loss of pleasure, while it can also make your child more collaborative with others.
Okay, good. Very good again, but also make it shorter. Okay. Some of that you can include um in the background. Okay. Um, is there any other one you want to do? Do you have any other one that you did from 1 to 5?
Not really.
Okay. If you feel more comfortable, you could submit it later. Did you do any other ones?
Yeah.
Okay, which one? Number 4, okay. Recycling helps the environment. Boring. How can we fix it?
The earth become more beautiful when you reuse a single water bottle.
Okay, that's good. That's right. Hundreds of millions of marine wildlife die from the millions of tons of plastic that enter our oceans every year. Give me one for any of them except the one you already did, obviously.
Human existence have been on Earth for 300,000 years. Imagine the amount of history and events that could happen in that time period.
Okay, that's for the last one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, nice. Good. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um, Number 4 from CC. What if you could save thousands of marine animals just by throwing your plastic garbage in a blue bin? Good question, Hook. Yep. Good. You guys are like, if you guys have gotten the hang of it, right? So, um, always begin with something like that. Okay? All right. Let's move on to the next part, which needs some work, which is what? Which is identifying the parts, okay, of a intro, right? You guys, we spoke about the parts last time, right? The hook, what were the parts? 3 parts of an introduction. All right, look at that paragraph, okay? Imagine waking up one day to find that the forests around you are gone, replaced by barren wastelands. Deforestation is a growing problem that threatens wildlife, contributes to climate change, and impacts human lives. To address this issue, we must implement stricter laws, promote sustainable practices, and educate the public about the importance of forests. Okay, that's an intro, pretty good intro. Let me ask you guys this. What's the background part here? What part is the background part in this paragraph? Take a moment to think about that. What's the background part? Okay. You guys online, you you could either say it or you could write it. Okay.